Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God, back with you with the next video in my series, reading The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Without further ado, returning to The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn as read by Lord Naren White.
Shucks, Tom, I says. I think you might tell a person. What's a bar sinister? Oh, I don't know. But he's got to have it. All the nobility does.
That was just his way. If it didn't suit him to explain a thing to you, he wouldn't do it. You might pump at him a week. It wouldn't make no difference. He got all that coat of arms business fixed. So now he started in to finish up the rest of that part of the work, which was to plan out a mournful inscription. Said Jim got to have one, like they all done. He made up a lot, and wrote them out on a paper, and read them off, so. 1. Here a captive heart busted. 2. Here a poor prisoner forsook by the world and friends, fretted his sorrowful life. 3. Here a lonely heart broke, and a worn spirit went to its rest, after 37 years of solitary captivity. Here, homeless and friendless, after 4. Here, homeless and friendless, after 37 years of bitter captivity, perished a noble stranger, natural son of Louis XIV. Tom's voice trembled whilst he was reading them, and he most broke down. When he got done, he couldn't no way make up his mind which one for Jim to scrabble onto the wall. They was all so good. But at last he allowed he would let him scrabble them all on. Jim said it would take him a year to scrabble such a lot of truck onto the logs with a nail, and he didn't know how to make letters. Besides, but Tom said he would block them out for him. But then he wouldn't have nothing to do but just follow the lines. Then, pretty soon, he says,
Come to think, the logs ain't a going to do. They don't have log walls in a dungeon. We got to dig the inscriptions into a rock. We'll fetch a rock.
Jim said the rock was worse than the logs. He said it would take him such a piss-on long time to dig them into a rock, he wouldn't ever get out. But Tom said he wouldn't let me help him to do it. Then he took a look to see how me and Jim was getting along with the pens. It was most pesky tedious hard work and slow, and didn't give my hands no show to get well of the sores, and we didn't seem to make no headway hardly. So Tom says,
I know how to fix it. We got to have a rock for the coat of arms and mournful inscriptions, and we can kill 2 birds with that same rock. There's a gaudy big grindstone down at the mill, and we'll smouch it and carve the things on it, and file out the pens and saw on it too.
It warn't no slouch of an idea, and it warn't no slouch of a grindstone neither, but we allowed we'd tackle it. It warn't quite midnight yet, so we cleared out for the mill, leaving Jim at work. We smouched out the grindstone and set out to roll her home. But it was a most nation tough job. Sometimes do what we could, but it was a most we couldn't keep her from falling over. She come mighty near mashing us every time. Tom said she was going to get one of us, sure, before we got through. We got her halfway, and then we was plumb played out and most drowned with sweat. Well, we see it warn't no use. We got to go and fetch Jim, so he raised up his bed and slid the chain off of the bed leg, and wrapped it round and round his neck, and we crawled out through our hole and down there, and Jim and me laid into that grindstone and walked her along like nothing. And Tom superintended. He could out-superintend any boy I ever see. He knowed how to do everything. Our hole was pretty big, but it warn't big enough to get the grindstone through. But Jim, he took the pick and soon made it big enough. Then Tom marked out them things on it with the nail, and set Jim to work on them, with the nail for a chisel and an iron bolt from the rubbish in the lean-to for a hammer, and told him to work till the rest of his candle quit on him, and then he could go to bed, and hide the grindstone under his straw tick and sleep on it. Then we helped him fix his chain back on the bed leg, and was ready for bed ourselves. But Tom thought of something and says, "You got any spiders in here, Jim?" "No, sir. Thanks to goodness I ain't, Mars Tom." "All right. We'll get you some. But bless you, honey, I don't want none. I's afeard on 'em. I just soon have rattlesnakes around." Tom thought a minute or two and says,
"It's a good idea, and I reckon it's been done. It must have been done, it stands to reason. Yes, it's a prime good idea. Where could you keep it?" "Keep what, Mars Tom?" "Why, a rattlesnake. Your goodness gracious alive, Mars Tom. Why, if there was a rattlesnake to come in here, I'd take and bust right out through that log wall, I would, with my head." "Why, Jim, you wouldn't be afraid of it after a little. You could tame it." "Tame it?" "Yes, easy enough. Every animal is grateful for kindness and petting, and they wouldn't think of hurting a person that pets them. Any book will tell you that. You try, and that's all I ask. Just try for 2 or 3 days. Why, you can get him so in a little while that he'll love you, and sleep with you, and won't stay away from you a minute, and will let you wrap him round your neck and put his head in your mouth." "Please, Mars Tom, don't talk so. I can't stand it. He let me shove his head in his mouth as a favor, and I laid he'd wait a powerful long time before I asked him. And Mo and Dad, I don't want him to sleep with me." "Jim, don't act so foolish. A prisoner's got to have some kind of a dumb pet, and if a rattlesnake ain't ever been tried, why, there's more glory to be gained in your being the first to ever try it than any other way you could ever think to save your life." "Why, Mars Tom? I don't want no such glory. Snake, take and bite Jim's chin off. Then what is the glory?" "No, sir, I don't want no such doings." "Blame it. Can't you try?" "I only want you to try. You needn't keep it up if it don't work." "But the trouble all done of the snake bite when I was a-trying 'em, Mars Tom, I's willing to tackle most anything that ain't reasonable. But if you and Huck fetches a rattlesnake and hay for me to tame, I's going to leave that shore." "Well then, let it go. Let it go. If you're so bull-headed about it, we can get you some garter snakes, and you can tie some buttons on their tails and let on they're rattlesnakes, and I reckon that'll have to do. I can stand 'em, Mars Tom, but blame if I couldn't get along without 'em. I tell you that. I never knowed before that was so much bother and trouble to be a prisoner." "Well, it always is when it's done right. You got any rats around here?" "No, sir, I ain't seen none." "Well, we's get you some rats." "Why, Mars Tom? I don't want no rats. They's the dad blamedest creatures to stir a body and rustle round over him and bite his feet when he's trying to sleep I ever see. No, sir, give me your garter snakes, if I's got to have 'em, but don't give me no rats. I ain't got no use for 'em scasely." "But, Jim, you got to have 'em. They all do. So don't make no more fuss about it. Prisoners ain't even ever without rats. There ain't no instance of it. And they train them and pet them and learn them tricks, and they get to be as sociable as flies. But you got to play music to them. You got anything to play music on?" "I ain't got nothing but a coast comb and a piece of paper and a juice harp. But I reckon they wouldn't take no stock in a juice harp." "Yes, they would. They don't care what kind of music 'tis. A juice harp plays plenty enough good enough for a rat. All animals like music. In a prison they dote on it, especially painful music, and you can't get no other kind out of a juice harp. It always interests them. They come out to see what's the matter with you. Yes, you're all right. You're fixed very well. You want to sit on your bed nights before you go to sleep, and early in the mornings, and plays your juice harp. Play 'The Last Link is Broken.' That's the thing that'll scoop a rat quicker than anything else. And when you've played about 2 minutes, you'll see all the rats and snakes and spiders and things begin to feel worried about you and come. And they'll just fairly swarm over you and have a noble good time." "Yes, they will, I reckon, Mars Tom. But what kind of time is Jim having? Blessed if I can see the paint. But I'll do it if I got to. I reckon I keep the animals satisfied, not to have no trouble in the house."
We'll go ahead and stop there for this week. As usual, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe,
as it greatly helps the channel.
Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.